Okay, so I have 2, 3, 4 stalks of Yucca Leaves. I've already processed one. So they've been sitting in my Flax retting tank for 5 days, and these are quite soft and quite wet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them through my fine hackle, and I'm going to separate them into finer strands of fiber, not spinning type fine, but cordage type fine. So we'll show you that here in just a sec. Okay, here we go. So what I've done so far is using my fine hackle that I made. I actually sharpened the tips. So what I have is some really nice fiber here. It's still coarse, but it should be pretty good. And then I just run it through. So there's still a lot of pectins and all that stuff that are still on this fiber. So this fiber, when wetted, would make some really nice cordage. When all of the pectins when they dry, you can kind of run it in your hands, but that's basically what you get. So what I do is I take the thick end or the thin end first, then I just kind of run it. Careful not to hurt yourself, and you can just kind of work it down into the comb and just kind of pull it through. Just drag it along and it'll separate. And just work your way through, and the more you do it, the more you can get separated. This is done without scraping or doing any of that other stuff. And these are with leaves that were already dead leaves off of the yucca plant, and not green leaves. And I usually stress the green or the dead leaves versus the green, just because there's less harm to the plant itself. And these fibers are still really strong and quite usable. And then just turn it around. Whatever's not good at the tip, just get some of the pectin stuff off, but definitely not all of it. But it definitely separates these fibers. And once you get the fibers all done, then you can just kind of run it through just like you do with your flax, and just pulls all the short garbage off, and you get a bunch of junk. And then again, a bunch of nice fiber. And if you want, you can kind of hold it in the middle. So being fresh out of the retting tank, it still kind of stinks. But then again, that's what you can expect. So plant end and tip end And again, some more nice fiber from that. So you go from that to that. And this is yucca, so this would be used by the locals that lived here long ago, that lived along the rivers and things, and inland. And this is what they'd be using for all sorts of things. And so I'm just going to start on this end this time rather than the other end. And just do a nice demonstration. Press it down in between. Fibers separated. This is a really quick way to separate versus using a stone, which I've done already, and it's a real pain in the butt. More chunk. So you can see the difference there. You can even go to the point like what I'm going to do here to show you. Separate all these fibers right up to that really thick end. This is kind of a thick end, kind of almost like an artichoke thick. And then just leave it, and you can break this end off later. Or cut it off, do whatever you want. Or run it through, bust up the fibers. Maybe do that last. It's actually looking pretty good doing that last. That's more nice. If I could make these into spinnable fibers, like on a spinning wheel, that'd be great. Maybe on a hand spindle, they would work. All right, let's just kind of go through this real quick here. So that one broke off, really thick end. And pretty nice. Okay, so this is my fiber from the yucca run through my little hackle comb to split up those leaves, and that's what this looks like. So now we're going to let it dry, and then we're going to try and break off some of this thicker stuff that's still on the fibers, which should come off to yield some better fibers. So these fibers are kind of coarse, so they do kind of get a little brittle when they're dry. So these are best worked when they're wet or damp.